This guy has played 25 tests for Australia. He scored over 2,000 runs at an average of 42.87. He scored 5 centuries, 14 50s. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Chris Bucky Rogers, Australian cricket legend.
Pete.
What?
Simon Rogers, mate. Simon Rogers. General Manager, Epson Australia.
Okay, so I thought it was Chris Rogers, the Australian cricketer.
Got the wrong Mr. Rogers.
Oh my God. Sorry about that, Simon.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
G'day everyone, Pete Techman Coman here for another exciting episode of The Tech Effect. And as usual, the guy next to me, right here, high five, wrong way. Wrong side, which are we? I don't know, where are we?
I feel like I'm trying to push the building over.
The bearded tech himself, Mr. Mark, the bearded tech Skehan. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Pete. How are you, mate?
I'm great. Different surroundings today. You can see I'm in the office. We've got some New York skyline behind me there.
Looking pretty smick, really. I'm getting a bit over it though. Look, I've got the same old backdrop. The best I could do this week was turn the light on.
I saw, and you got a different coloured lamp in there today. It's purple. It's very, very nice.
I'll change it next week, just because I can't change it.
Okay. Mix it up a little bit, hey? Living on the edge.
I've only got one shirt that I own, so I'll have to change the colour of the light bulb, not the shirt. But
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
And I've got a beard trim. I've got a new barber this week.
Oh, you look very very dapper. Yeah. Are you going to do the little curls on the end?
I might do the Dali. Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow.
Got a bit of a spin. I keep going the wrong side. It's got a bit of a little twist on it. Does it by itself. I don't even try.
Right. You're looking very sharp.
Hey Pete, we have got a cracking show, and I love that word. I listened to an old podcast. I couldn't believe how many times I used the word cracking. I need to stop that. But we have got a ripper show for all the Americans watching. Ripper is great and awesome.
Yeah, we have to translate it, don't we? No one will understand what we're talking about.
We might have to slow down our speech a little bit as well. Pete, we've got a special guest.
We have got a very special guest, and I said we were talking about this last week, and you said to me, who should we get on the show? And I said, mate, I'll leave it up to you, but I want to get an Australian legend on the show, and you have excelled this week, Mark. This guy has played 25 tests for Australia. He scored over 2,000 runs at an average of 42.87. He scored 5 centuries, 14 50s. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Chris Bucky Rogers, Australian cricket legend.
Pete.
What?
Simon Rogers, mate. Simon Rogers. General Manager, Epson Australia.
Okay, so I thought it was Chris Rogers, the Australian cricketer.
Got the wrong Mr. Rogers.
Oh my God. Sorry about that, Simon.
That's embarrassing. You ought to be ashamed.
We've got similar hairstyles nowadays. That's about.
Yeah, when he said Australian legend, and I heard Rogers, and I just, of course, Chris Rogers. But Simon is an Australian legend.
A little bit of a G up. I didn't put that in the notes for you, Simon. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Some cricket together, but no one was scoring any runs there, so
right.
Can't help you out.
Fair enough.
Simon, thanks for coming on the show, mate. Just so we are official, Mr. Simon Rogers, General Manager of Sales, Epson Australia. Is that correct, mate?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. We go way back, actually, Simon. I reckon way back to the days, about 2007, if I had to pick a year, somewhere. I think you were back at Sanyo those days.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think all of us have been in this game for a little while, it seems.
Yeah, maybe a little too long.
Some of us have got grey hair as well as a result.
It's never used to be there.
Yeah.
Simon, so look, Epson Australia, great to have you on the show. Epson Australia have been very, very strong in projection in Australia and worldwide, in fact.
Market leader.
Market leader? How much, actually, just out of interest, how much of the market are you holding at the moment? Do you know? Oh, dear. We've got technology issues. I'll speak for Simon. Oh, Mark. No. Simon will be back. Pete, in the meantime, we should do a session of Ask Pete. But,
oh, yeah, right. Yeah, because the first one went so well. I was so good at it. I was like, yes.
I have had some people. I've had some people come in and send me a message or two about some questions that we might ask Pete. I think there's a Pete's rant coming up as well, because one of the questions I will ask you will be, will you be subject to a rant? So we'll hold that one. Anyway, we got him back.
There he is. He's back.
Yes.
He's back.
Sorry,
that's all right. No post production here, Simon. So that's okay. We'll just keep on rolling. We just talk a bit of rubbish between ourselves.
IT AV problems. I promise.
Yeah. Blame IT. So, how much of that question did you get, Simon?
I didn't get any. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. So, look, we'll recap. We just wanted to ask you, Epson, market leader, Australia, worldwide. How much of the market are you holding at the moment? Have you got any data and stats around that?
Yeah, look, globally now, Epson's closing in on 40%. So, that's, I guess, our credentials in projectors, that well over 1 in 3 projectors sold around the world's an Epson. We put more out there than the next 5 brands combined. Wow. In Australia, our market share over the last couple of years has been a bit higher than that. We've been sort of 60% or above. So we're very lucky, both in Australia and New Zealand. We've got fantastic partners, fantastic customers, and the product has stacked up, and we've got good momentum there.
Yeah. And you were, so for those that don't know, you're at Sanyo, you move over to Epson, and you're at Epson for say 10 years, and then you head across the ditch to New Zealand for a couple of years to run. I think you're general manager over there. Is that right? Or managing director? What was your title in New Zealand?
Yeah, I had 3 years as general manager of Epson New Zealand, and came back here about 18 months ago, and now head up the sales function for Epson Australia, but still with looking after New Zealand as well.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Can't be big enough. Busy enough, I should say. A lot of the market share that you've got would have to be education, would it not? I mean, every time, like I work in education, primarily private education, and anyone that's got a projector, it's an ultra short throw. It's the EB6XX range into the 700s, and to be honest, the 1400 series range. Like, they're everywhere. Your market share has to be truly based around credit to that, I suppose, to the education sector, surely.
Look, that's the big volume part of the market, of course. I think our market share probably comes from 2 areas. One is that we address the whole market. We've got a range second to none. We still have more than 60 models in our lineup, and we go from sort of $499 retail up to $150,000. So the fact that we have such a big range and we address all of the market helps that. But of course, there are particular pockets of strength, and you're absolutely right, Mark. Ultra short throw is where our market share is sort of 85 or 90%. We've had good product from day dot that fortunately has been well embraced by the market.
And you released about 12 months ago, an ultra wide, ultra short throw. I think it was about 21:9, I think was the aspect ratio.
Yeah, that's right. So interactivity has been part of our success in ultra short throw. One of the challenges with interactive is how much real estate you've got. And so going to that ultra wide aspect ratio obviously increases just how much real estate you've got to engage with the screen. So, yep, 21:9, but of course you can even go further. We can edge blend those and make them into a super wide canvas.
And that's the thing, especially in corporate. We do a lot of work in corporate, and a lot of companies are going towards Miro boards and Hoilu boards and things like that, where they want to have agile meetings, and they want to do away with the old Post-it notes, the sticky notes that they would put up on the wall and then take a photo of. So now they can digitize that. So they can get away with 1 or 2 projectors rather than 3 or 4 projectors to do the same canvas, and have it all interactive, have it saved, turn it off and walk out at the end of the day, and they've got it all there when they come back next time.
Yeah. But we've been talking it up for quite a few years, as you know, with our Meeting Mate project, and trying to give people that collaborative digital functionality, rather than people still taking photos on their iPhone, which is amazingly something we see.
Yeah, it is.
So common, isn't it? Yeah. So the range we're talking about is the 1480 and the 1485 FI, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. You're on it.
It's kind of can't be any real secret. There was a good strategy in 21:9 aspect ratio, being that about 1100 in height takes it out to about 2400 in width, which would be the standard size of a whiteboard. Go figure. What are the chances? But anyway, so look, Size Matters has been a big marketing pitch from you guys.
Apparently it's never been your marketing pitch, Mark. Just quietly. Apparently.
Oh dear, Pete. So, look, we probably will. Will not. It's part of the fun. But look, it's a big pitch from Epson. There's certainly, in the education space, there is panels that are really knocking on the door. They must be taking some market share currently, are they? Are they giving you a nudge?
Yep, absolutely. And so this is where education has been a stronghold for projection. You know, panels have taken over in corporate a long time ago. But in education, it is still about the size. And I know I'm preaching to the converted. You know, your integration business is the big picture. So you understand about the importance of size, and that's obviously the advantage of projectors. And probably more than ever, right, as we're starting to see restrictions around social distancing and so on, the need for big screens is becoming more and more important. And the thing that we always are trying to get people to understand is, I guess, that talking in inches diagonal, we often do ourselves a disservice. That when people compare a 75-inch panel to even a 100-inch projection screen, they don't perceive the difference, or they don't understand the difference of glance. So they think that maybe that's 25% bigger, whereas of course it's almost 100% bigger.
Yeah.
In the same way that, you know, a 65-inch, you can fit 4 of those into a 130-inch image. And that's all about increasing the engagement from students, that they can see the content, that they can interact with the content so much better. And as I say, perhaps now more than ever, as everyone's having to space out a little bit.
But do you think that's like the content's the real key factor here, right? Because certainly in education, it's you know, if we don't get that content right, with the technology really doesn't matter. But there's so much software coming through, right? That's for teaching software and all these different things. Most of those aren't around spreadsheets where you've got your 11-point font. No, to me, the big selling pitch was size matters, especially when you're running a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet where you've got 11-point font and you need to see it. But software now for education, a lot of them are moving away from those very basic stuff to dedicated software. Is it still a marketing pitch that can fly?
Look, I think people use lots of different content, don't they? And we used to talk about a 4-6-8 rule that, if you were seeing video and things that didn't demand close attention, then yes, you could be 8 times image height away. If it was something that you were trying to engage with in terms of presentations and so on, maybe 6 times. But when you were getting into more detailed content, and you've cited the examples of Excel and Word, then only 4 times image height was the optimum viewing distance. And we're all preaching that at home. We're all getting bigger and bigger monitors and sitting close to the screen and enjoying having, a bit of immersion and taking in that content. And yet when we're getting in a group, we're asking people to try and focus on a screen that is, in perspective, far smaller than what they're used to looking at, even on their laptop screen now. So, I think the size matters is crucial for that, for people to really absorb all levels of content.
Still a very valid pitch for a while to go yet then.
Yeah. And you spoke about immersion, right? So I know over the years we've worked very closely with Epson and we've designed a number of immersive spaces using Epson projectors. But in particular, the main reason that we were using the Epson projectors was, obviously it's a great projector, but the snorkel lens that you brought out where you had the zero offset. So other manufacturers had a ultra short throw mirrored lens, but obviously you had to mount them a lot higher. There was a huge offset. You didn't always have the ceiling height to be able to do that, to get the screen size that you wanted. And Epson had a very, very unique, probably, I'm guessing, patented design where it actually came back on itself, rather unusual looking thing, but was super effective. And which meant that when you're trying to design or build an immersive space, and you want people to get relatively close to the content without casting shadows on it. So you've got to get the projector as close as you possibly can. And we had, as I said, we designed a number of successful spaces using the Epson projectors. Has there been any more development with the snorkel lens or with those ultra short throw technologies from Epson? Is there anything on the roadmap that we should know about?
Look, I suppose the short answer is no, but what it's pointing to is that the developments have enabled more and more applications. They've opened up more and more different types of solutions. And now, once upon a time for ultra short throw, we could only offer up to 3,000 lumens. Now with those snorkel lenses, we've got projectors up to 30,000 lumens.
Wow.
So it's that combination of high brightness and greater functionality by, as you're saying, having super close throw distances, still compatible with lens shift, still compatible with zero offset. That can open up these new and wonderful applications.
Absolutely.
But what's happening in projectors, it's where we're increasingly focusing our story and the advantages of projectors is these applications where they can provide solutions that other display technologies can't.
Yes. No, that's true. I mean, even like projecting onto curved surfaces, for example, you've got some built-in tools that you can actually adjust to be able to accommodate, or even if a wall's not completely flat, or, you can actually kind of get around it to make the image look nice and sharp.
And look, that whole projection mapping application is obviously a key one for us, because that is where that's unique to projectors, that you can light up any outdoor space or any you can activate any sort of surface and turn it into content.
But you guys are so actively involved with events like Vivid, right? Like I see you guys always. When Vivid's on, I think it got cancelled this year, but it looks like that they've got it that's going ahead next year. But Epson always has some great examples of projection mapping in Sydney.
Yep, and that's, as I say, that's a key selling point for projectors, and we've got horsepower up to 30,000 lumens, and of course we can stack them and launch them up. That's applications. So that's one of the growing areas of the market for us. As I say, we're always talking about what projectors can do that you can't do that with other display technologies. And I think even coming back to what you were talking earlier, Mark, about super wide aspect ratios, again, that's unique to, or much easier with projectors, that we can stitch together multiple. We can edge blend, we can create different aspect ratios, we can create a big digital canvas that is much harder to do with other display technologies, or very, very expensive to do. We're a big fan of LEDs. The more kind of big screens are out there, the more demand there is for big screens. So, at the moment, both LED markets and that high brightness projector area are growing together. But projectors do have advantages on cost, and they do have advantages in some of the applications, of course.
Certainly get bang for buck, don't you, out of a projector?
Yeah, look, we hope so. We sell, LEDs are great for us, that people think $150,000 projector is good value.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed, look, I was lucky enough at ISE, thanks to you, Simon, actually, to get an invite to the Epson dinner. And I was absolutely blown away by the awesome use of the canvas that literally, look, I don't know what it was. It looked like a massive sheet, effectively, that just went from the stage, which I think was about 20 metres wide, all the way up, and the use of the content onto that canvas. And then I think we counted 20 of those 20,000 ANSI projectors mapping that whole thing. Like, projection certainly isn't dead. And I think all three of us, you've got to agree with that, Simon, because that's
that's his job.
Well, I think we both, Pete and I, believe that as well. But
exactly,
the market for that, like ultra short throw, has been so successful. So many selling points with shadowing, less washout, all the stuff. The life for the 2245s and that sort of just basic low level, mid entry level long throws, is that coming to an end, or is there still going to be market for that going forward?
I think there'll still be a market, but there's no doubt what's happening in projectors, right, is that the total market in terms of volume is declining, because some of those applications that were projector based are, as panels get larger and cheaper, they're moving to panels. But the projector market is still growing in terms of value, right? Because we are, instead of selling lots of sub $1,000 projectors, we're now selling projectors that are much higher value and going into specialist applications and opening up new solutions. Ultra short throw once was just in education, but that's now going into applications like digital signage. Of course, projectors are a great solution for digital signage, because you don't have to have a framed box hanging off a wall. You can have invisible technology. Now, what you do at ISE and what we're talking about, these big digital canvases, that's probably the extreme example, but there's lots of smaller examples where you can use things like our light scene projectors, but even we've now got ultra short throw models of 5,000 or 6,000 lumens, which are targeted towards digital signage, which you can hide and put content onto walls and into different shop fittings, different applications. So that is still growing the market. So long-winded answer, but some of the traditional areas of projectors are growing, but there's new opportunities as well.
And when you talk about growing the market, also, it's my understanding that Epson also supply components to some of your competitors.
Yeah, look, Epson's credentials, of course, is that we are the pioneers in 3 LCD. That established this technology just over 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
And that's our advantage when we're talking about our credentials as a brand. But when it comes to projection technology, you know, people are either buying DLP chips from Texas Instruments or largely LCD panels from Epson. So yeah, we have a mixed feeling that we've got lots of competitors, but of course some of them use our core technology as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's really a sign of the position that Epson have in the market. And I remember a few years ago when I went and did a factory tour with yourself, and we put on all the suits. We had like these. We went into the dust-proof, dust-free areas, and we had to fully get dressed up. Like it was like, I haven't even seen anything like that at a hospital, right? Like what we had to do and wear just to go inside, and the precision to see individuals like looking at component, like individually inspecting components. I think a lot of us probably think that when they see a finished product like a projector, it's kind of just goes down the factory line and gets assembled and thrown together by machines and off it goes. But I couldn't get over the amount of people, individuals involved in making all this come together and the time-consuming process that it was. And I'm like, oh my God, like how are you guys producing this many projectors? Because it's very, very hands-on. There wasn't a lot of machines. There was a lot of people doing this work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I'm glad you've seen that, and we love sharing that, because in many ways that's Epson's unique value proposition. That when we build projectors, we build them from the ground up. You know, we own the core technology. Every part of that process is completely vertically integrated and is an Epson process.
Yeah.
You know, of course, we've got a huge commitment to it. That's what's a little bit different to us and why we are so committed to this category, because we don't have lots of other products. We don't OEM panels and put an Epson badge on them. You know, we're completely dedicated to projectors. We live or die by continuing to make projectors valuable enough that there's going to be a market for them there. And you've seen signs of that investment. We, as a company, we invest around $1.5 million US every day in research and development.
Every day.
That's and across really just across two product categories. It's across printers and projectors, and we're recognised as an innovator in that space. But sometimes people don't know just the level of commitment that we have. You know, that puts us well inside the top 20 companies in terms of patent registrations. You know, of innovation. We're not quite as many as Microsoft or Google, but we're not far behind Apple. You know, we're and in these specialized areas, that's where our pedigree is.
And obviously you've got some other, I suppose, complementary products, or that you're using the technology that you've created to create augmented reality glasses. So is there going to be further development along those lines? Because we're seeing, you know, obviously Google had their Google Glass, and that kind of started this thought process, really. Epson were probably, I think, really the first to market with a viable product. And then since then, we've seen others come along. Is Epson going to continue to work in that space and develop more product with augmented reality?
Yes. I'll answer that in two ways. I guess we're always trying to find ways to find new applications for our core technology, right? And our core technology, as you say, is those miniaturized panels, miniaturized display technology, and on the print side, of course, it's our micro piezo print head. We're both sides of the fence. We're trying to find different applications for those core technologies. With augmented reality is you know, a growth area. We've had a good stab trying to bring that to market as Epson. Probably the growth opportunity for us there is more around an OEM path of opening to other developers, and that's increasingly the path that the company is going down.
Yeah, I just think AR is going to be huge. I think that the applications for it are pretty much endless, where you imagine that you can meet anytime, anywhere, and not require a screen on a wall or, you know, even a projector for that matter, because you've got the content right there in front of your eyes and you can still be meeting with people. You could be in a cafe and sharing content with each other. So I think it's, I hope you guys continue to develop it, because as I said, you've been doing it for a long time and you've got a lot of IP there. And like you said, if you can actually enable other companies to take that and develop it more, then that would be fantastic.
Look, it's a technology trend we're fully behind, right? I guess for two reasons, because one is that application, but if there is a limitation with glasses, whether it's virtual reality or augmented reality, they tend to be an individual experience. Whereas another application growing for projectors, of course, and we already touched on this with immersive environments, but that's a group shared augmented reality experience, isn't it? You know, we've got people in some of the applications you've done in the past, Pete, or we're partnering very closely with Igloo Vision now and doing lots of immersive spaces. You know, that's where you can have a whole group of people, and rather than one person with the glasses being transported somewhere else, you've got a group of people looking at the new store design or being on a spaceship into outer space in the school environment or where have you. And you know, that's, again, it's an application that is a projector application, but it's a real world one where people get excited and is a, you know, fantastic experience.
Yeah, 100%.
You'd have to think there'll be some alignment with the glasses and projection. That's probably where I see the real opportunity. And then potentially tailoring what people see on the AR glasses individually, but the projection in behind that, which would be Coman. That's the thing that sort of pops into my head, but more so than you know, sharing that content on your glasses at a coffee shop or scenario, Pete. That would be. But you know, my head's around education too, right? So
that's right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that you're looking at from an education perspective and those the applications there, and I'm looking at from a corporate perspective, and they can be two totally different things. You know, you could actually have the same product using two totally different ways.
Yeah.
That's what's exciting about it.
So what about you know, it's been around forever. What about interactivity now, Simon? You guys have basically the pioneers of interactivity and projection, and where's it going? Like, you know, if I go back to education, is it still, you know, I have so many people say to me now, oh, look, interactivity is not really relevant in
people stop you in the street and ask you this question, don't they?
What? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Hey, like, Mark, the bearded tech. Where's interactive?
Where's the interactivity?
Yeah.
Secondary college is what they're saying. It's not relevant in secondary college. And I still think it is. But I think the best way for people to learn is to get up and move around and teach other people and engage. But what's your thoughts on that?
Look, it's still there, isn't it? Interactivity is, you know, anything that encourages engagement and collaboration is hugely popular. I think probably what people are asking about is whether interactivity is still best served at the display, or is it moving into people's palms with their, you know, with tablets and so on. But I think
a combination of both, right?
Yeah, that's right. We can offer both. So, and that's always been one of our advantages, that we don't have a particular agenda whether we push interactivity or not, right? We have the same ultra short throw projectors to a large extent, one with interactivity and one without. But the cost premium that we ask for interactivity is next to nothing. So you know, it enables people to have that extra functionality and use it. So yeah, there's no barrier to entry there. I think. Sorry,
keep going, Simon. You're the guest.
You're the star. We're interested to see where this goes in education, right? Because particularly now, in COVID time, there's 3 new realities for education. We've already spoken about one, that it is a reality that social distancing is coming into all of our environments, and that includes in the schools, and that's going to affect behaviour, that even in the classroom, kids are going to be spaced a little bit more, but they're not mixing in cohorts, they're going to have less assemblies and so on, and that's going to impact the type of technology and the way that they use it. So that's the first reality. Second reality is that there's going to be more remote learning. You know, people are going to be working, learning from home a lot more. Now that's good news for our printers, right? Not so good news for our projectors, which by their nature tend to be in public spaces. But the third factor is it's going to be a bit of a hybrid, isn't it? There's going to be both of these things happening, that people are going to still want to engage together, but there is going to be a bit of distances in this. And as soon as we start talking about hybrid learning, any devices that encourage collaboration, that allow people to share content easily, that allow this interaction and collaboration are fantastic, are paramount. And that's where our interactive projectors come in and earn their keep. It's where even some of our other products like visualizers, you know, basic document cameras and so on, you know, come in and still have a real place to play in that new education reality.
And Simon, one thing that I've always loved about Epson is that they listen. They ask a lot of questions, like the engineers, like, you know, they'll come out to Australia and they love coming out to Australia because we're so opinionated, right? Especially the consultants, they're so opinionated about what you need. Well, there's one in particular, but you know, about what technology or what features should be in a projector. And I remember a couple of years ago talking to one of your engineers that came out to Sydney, and we sat down and he was asking me what I wanted to see. Obviously, you've had HD-based built into a lot of your projectors for a long time now. Have we seen any development with AV over IP, whether it's SDVOE or whatever flavor, you know, because we're doing a lot more streaming now. Have any of your projectors got that, or is that on the roadmap?
Look, yes and no. I mean, I think we all know that that VGA and HDMI are not the way that a lot of people are connecting things now, but rest assured we've got those connections on all the projectors. Yeah. So the things that have been well integrated is, as you say, HD-based T and wireless. You know, that we've got Miracast, we've got lots of good streaming applications and ways that we can connect wirelessly. When it comes to some of those AV over IP connections, we haven't really integrated that. We're still relying on the external devices to bridge that.
Okay. Surely that's around lack of standardisation as well. I mean, HD-based T gave you some standardisation to run with, where the lack of standardisation in AV over IP makes it pretty hard.
It's true. Yeah, which one are you going to pick? Right?
Yeah. You take a punt, you probably get it wrong.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So lasers a new thing. We're seeing Epson lamp-based projectors start to fade out, though, Simon.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Look, I think we've spoken about trends in projectors. What are the technology trends? Yeah, absolutely. Laser rules the roost now. You know, even in our ultra short throw projectors, where we never saw the lamps as a big impediment because we sold the replacement lamps for $69. Lasted for 5,000 hours. They weren't hard to get to replace, but still, the laser has other advantages, that it starts up instantly and things like that. And it's just the customer expectation. So absolutely, we're at the kind of the forefront of that now, moving to laser across the board. And you're right, we've only now got 2 lamp-based ultra short throws left in the lineup, and once we go above sort of 6,000 lumens, it's fully laser, of course.
And development around that, where does that go to? I mean, we've got 20,000 hours, I think, that everyone basically markets to, and some are marketing no touch of that 20,000 hours. You don't have to do any sort of maintenance against it. Where's the roadmap for laser? Can it develop heaps further?
Yes, I mean, that's one of the advantages of laser, right? That it's a far more scalable technology that if you want to make it brighter, we can put more laser diodes in there, to be really simplistic about it. So that poses other challenges, but those challenges are quickly being overcome. That in our laser lineup, we've gone from 15,000 lumens to 20,000 lumens. You know, this only just recently we've announced our 30,000 lumen. That progress has happened pretty quickly. So yeah, we are getting right up there. Laser has other advantages in terms of color gamut. So, you know, in some of our home theater projectors, our 4K Pro UHD home theater projectors, where we also have ultra short throw dedicated home theater projectors coming out. So it's that congregation of lots of different technologies. And the longevity, yes, 20,000 hours is kind of the industry standard, but of course that's to a half-life. That's to where the brightness has kind of petered out to a half-life. But if you want longer than that, we can go longer than that. You just have to start your 12,000 lumen projector and run it at 8,000 lumens consistently.
Sure. 20,000 is a long time, though. You know, the electronics have died in somewhere along the line, or the people have rolled it over just from age or resolution at that point.
Yeah, we don't have too much pushback on that. Although, again, another COVID reality now is we're seeing a bit of a squeeze. Probably in the tertiary sector is where we're starting to see a bit more of a squeeze on funding. And so whenever that happens, there is more consideration on the lifespan of technology, that people are keen to sweat their existing assets longer or invest in technology where they are starting to consider a refresh of a bit longer than they once may have.
Yeah, it was certainly a common thread in the integrate virtual integrate around the tertiary education, that they're extending the life of their electronics in their rooms. That's for sure. Their AV in their rooms.
Yeah.
And Simon, what about LEDs? So we've seen some of your competitors try to produce LED-based projectors rather than laser projectors. Do you think that's got legs at all? And is Epson, I'm sure Epson's probably been mucking around with it and having a look at the technology as well. Do you think that LED will, sort of supersede laser, or it's just, you don't think it's bright enough, or what are the pros and cons?
Look, that it's not a technology we're going down the path, and chiefly because the big issue is around brightness. Yeah. It does seem to be limited there. Really the technology that has enabled this big brightness, of course, is the first stabs with both LEDs and lasers. We're using separate coloured LEDs and lasers, where or hybrid, where they used LED and laser to produce red, green, and blue. But the technology that really has enabled this now is the fact that we're going with this laser phosphor technology, which just uses blue lasers. So we can get super horsepower out of the blue lasers. And that gives us the blue light straight away, shining into the phosphor that splits that into, converts it to yellow light that we can then split into red and green. And so that seems to be the technology that's been embraced by most companies in terms of enabling this higher brightness.
Gotcha.
All right, Simon, we could talk all day, and we often do. Just one of the things we wanted to see if you had any fantastic breaking, you heard it here first, folks, sort of news that you might be able to...
Just between us, right? Just between us. It's okay, right?
And the world.
Yeah.
Our subscriber base is huge, right? We go, there's at least 4 to our script.
We cover the world from Brisbane to New York.
Yeah. And everywhere in between.
Yes.
As always with us, there's lots of new products coming, right? And the products that have been announced only in the last kind of 2 months is a new ultra short throw range, a new entry level range. We've our 30,000 lumen projector, which I've hinted to, is only just been announced as well. The one which I've hinted at, which is just about to be announced, is the ultra short throw digital signage model, right? So it's 5,000 lumens, black cabinet, but yeah, really designed to expand that market and sort of, I guess, as we said, give invisible technology in that digital signage space. So
is that like those little ones, like that kind of look like a light fitting that you have like for shops and retail and stuff like? Is that what you're talking about, or
the bigger brother to those? So they come on, and in fact, you will see new versions of those. So those light projectors, which absolutely are designed to fade into the background. But what we have seen at the moment, they're limited in horsepower, right? They're limited in how much brightness they can produce. So what we have seen is people using our brighter laser projectors, but all of a sudden they become part of the environment. That's a big box hanging from the ceiling. So we're trying to give the flexibility of using the ultra short throw cabinet, like the 1485, the 1495 Fi form factor that you've seen there, but as a dedicated sort of signage product. So
it's funny you say that. I went up to grab my lunch today, sort of just up near Bryant Park, and I went in there, and they didn't have LCD screens. They were actually projecting their menu with an Epson projector onto the wall. Yeah. Right. And they had it. It was quite large. So you would have needed probably 4 panels at least to get the same size, same coverage area as they did with this one projector.
Yeah. And the design concept around that I was trying to hint at before is that you get rid of the panel form factor that when you project it off, it's gone. It's disappeared. So
especially in corporate, the architects don't like seeing black screens on a wall. So when they're off, they look great when they're on, but when they're off, big black box. Yeah,
there you go. I look forward to seeing that coming through, Simon. So has that been released now?
No.
Oh, look at that. You have it here first.
Hey, world's first.
World's first.
Not far off. So you'll see more information soon.
Do you have a model number and pricing and that you can share with us?
I don't know the model number, I confess. I briefed on it, but that's where I'm letting the side down.
1485 DS.
Digital signage.
And it's black too, right?
Where we're trying to provide new opportunities, because it's been a difficult and interesting year in some of the market segments, of course. So this is where we try and have some new opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
And before we let you go, Simon, I know that you are a world-class skier. Right, I have seen you in action, and this guy, not a cricketer. Sorry to get confused, but this guy in action, he's a pro, absolute pro. So I need to know: did you get a chance to go skiing this year? If so, where did you go?
I confess I didn't go skiing this year. We were booked to go. Another COVID impact. My kids are keen skiers, but still, very keen to go into the kids club and so on. And with that not being open this year and no group classes and so on, we pulled the plug, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully that
would have been good for that, though.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
Look, it's good conditions over there always.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
A bit hit and miss, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Simon, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing some pearls of wisdom and some good insight into what's happening with Epson and where you're going. And, you know, you heard it here first, folks, about the new projector that's coming our way to focus on digital signage. So thank you again for giving us your time.
No, pleasure. Nice to talk to you. And thanks, Pete. It's been fun watching your background get a bit darker.
Yeah, get a little darker. That's right. That's what happens on every episode.
Well, as the sun sets on New York and
that's it.
Nothing else happens in Australia.
Because everyone's locked down.
We're all saying goodbye for now. And we'll talk to you all next week. Bye for now.
Yeah.